Oh boy, what's up, everybody? It's your boy the Khaiza, along with his bestest of homie, Eskateerr, on like, where is it? Where my finger is pointing. Not to like my action figures, but to like the virtual space. Eskateerr doing the Macarena.
Yeah.
What's up, Eskateerr? How you doing today?
Not much, you know, same old work. I paid off my bar prep, so I was pretty happy about that. Just trying to get money so I can upgrade the PC and finally play a lot more Tekken.
Hey, let's go. Yeah. I think. Wait, what's your like PC like now, Eskateerr? Is it like laptop low spec?
No, it's a desktop, but one of the graphics cards went out, and it never has like enough RAM, so I'm trying to get those two things squared away.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
I see. Well, Well, what about like instead of like buying like a whole new like desktop, I don't know if you can like get like the individual parts, but maybe that's
that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm gonna do. I just never have the money for that, you know.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, like graphics cards are like super expensive, especially nowadays, man. It's like it's super rough.
Yeah, and then even if you get like a used one, like you don't know what the life shelf cycle is gonna be, so.
Yeah, exactly. What can we discuss? Oh yeah, right. There was a lot of like oh, did you see the what was it? What's going around in like social? No, not that.
Nope,
But
okay.
there's like a what was it? A documentary series, The Quiet on Set, about like the what was it?
Are you
Nickelodeon.
talking about Trey? I haven't seen it, but I've heard a lot about it. And then I watched this like YouTube channel of this guy, Quentin Reviews. I think he's like kind of big in that space, like Nickelodeon stuff reviews.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, this is not a good time to talk about this, but I guess we're gonna talk about this.
I'm like, shit, bro. I mean, yeah, I was like a super like big like Nickelodeon like guy. Like, did you watch like some of those like shows growing up, or you didn't have like
So like I was like in that weird transition. So like all that Keenan and Kel, yes, for sure. Like I grew up on that. Those are like the early ones, and like the Amanda Bynes show, like that was like one of my favorites.
Ah, yeah.
But right when it was starting to get to like Drake and Josh and like all those other ones, it's not that I lost interest, but I think those were going around, like coming out right around I was like, enlisting, and have access to like cable regularly, and that's how it goes. ¿Qué pasó, mija? You wanna say hi? Yeah.
Hello.
You wanna say hi? Say hi.
Hello. She's very cute. Now I see her up close, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's very cute.
She's the one that's good at fighting though.
Yeah, oh, that's her.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Mashallah. Yeah, she's gonna do very good. I could see her in like Evo like pools right now for Street Fighter 6. Oh,
She's doing Smash for a while, but she got bored of it, and now she's playing a lot of Splatoon, which is good. Splatoon is a good game. So.
Oh yeah, true. Okay, but what was it? Yeah. So yeah, like I also like grew up with like Nickelodeon shows like growing up, more on like the cartoons like Jimmy Neutron, Fairy Odd Parents, of course, SpongeBob is like eternal as like time itself. SpongeBob will always be around, even with like new like horrendous CG renditions, like the new like what was it? Patrick goes to like boot camp or some shit like that.
Oh, man, thank God that old Danny didn't get hold of SpongeBob at least.
Yeah, right. But then of course there was the booming like era of Nickelodeon sitcoms, and of course we didn't like judge like those shows back then as like kids, because they were funny, right? I especially love Drake and Josh. They were like very like tame, but then you start getting into like things like or the other like Dan Schneider-esque Nick shows like iCarly, Victorious, and some of like the other like weird ones where they're very like pervy in nature.
It was weird. It was weird. Like I used to watch iCarly because like I did laundry in the barracks, and there's nothing on, right? But like in the little TV they have downstairs, but it's the only thing that has cable.
Yeah.
So I'm out here like just watching iCarly while I'm waiting on the laundry. I'm like, some of this stuff is kind of weird.
Yeah, like they very much zoom in on like some like very like gross innuendos, like girls like eating like phallic looking like pickles or like sniffing up like foot or something like that. It's just, that's very like iffy for children. I mean, like, you know, we didn't think about it now back then, but like now we have
iffy for adults, man. Like I was a full-on adult then. Like
yeah, well, yeah, true. Yeah, I didn't like notice it until like Victorious, which is like the one with like Victoria Justice and all that jazz, and like
never watched that one. Didn't even know that Ariana Grande was a thing in it.
Yeah, that's true. That was like her like breakout role, and like just her like popping off and like in the scene. But even like then, it's just like like in Victorious, it's just like ugh. Like
I saw a review about it though, and I was like, this is like that was worse. It was way worse.
That was way worse than imaginable. Like there was not as much in the older shows, but like in Victorious, it was like full frontal force of like just how much like, you know, gross shit that this like producer can like put out. And
like I don't know what's worse, because it's like, yeah, that stuff was gross to see, but like there's a lot of gross out stuff from the 90s, right? In the early 2000s. So like nobody really thought too much about it. But like the stuff that was like earlier that seemed like super innocent, but then it finds out that like he's being like a creep to everybody. And the producers are being creeps to like all the kids. I don't know if that's worse, like knowing that it was like super innocent like in the beginning, or just in the show, and then like just finding out later that like, oh yeah, it was
yeah, like see because it's sort of like after that documentary brings about like, I mean, we're in this like era of like woke culture, like everybody's, you know, like getting like super like aware of like things, especially from like behind the scenes and just like in everyday like culture and like in general, like everybody's just becoming kind of like sane and not like very closed off.
Yeah. It's just, I like, even if it wasn't like super woke stuff, like it's just kind of like, come on, like it was weird. Yeah. And then like in that video I was watching about Dan Schneider, it was like well, not just Dan Schneider, but like everything, right? I guess he had been in a sitcom before that, and it was like a sitcom that where like everybody was in there and it was like super gross there.
Yeah.
He always wanted to make like super gross like TV shows, and it's like,
it's just like it's a some like workplaces do not have to carry over and, you know, make it like your zone sort of thing.
Like, why couldn't you just gone to Spike TV? Why couldn't you just quit Nickelodeon and gone to Spike TV? Like,
yeah, like. And that's like another issue is like that documentary highlighted a lot of like things that's kind of like wrong with like the children entertainment industry, like with like
worse.
Yeah, it used to be worse.
It used to be worse.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen some of the other stuff like from like child stars like back then? Like the way like child stars used to be treated like before, like I would say even like mid 80s it was gross. It was bad.
I do only know of like one, and that was like, I think like Macaulay Culkin, like growing up after his breakout in
that was like the latest, but like everything before that, there was a lot of other stuff too that was like super gross. There's a reason why like they made like super strict rules in California about child labor laws surrounding that, because they had to.
But even then, like with some of these like Nickelodeon shows, when you start to hear like the stories from Drake Bell and like one of the Zoe 101 like co-stars of like just child endangerment or like just child like dirty like no-nos, it's like, yeah, there should be like better like protection for like these like child actors and, you know, emotional and physical like support for them. And yeah, it's just like, how did they like get away with this? It's just like
people enable it, man, like because people were just letting it happen. Like the guy was bringing in money. I don't really mess with it whenever it's drinking. Like I see it at the law firm I'm at right now. Like there's no like abuse, you know, like going on, but like you can tell, right? Like the head guy, His big thing is like you answer the phone calls like right away. Like within like the first time it rings, you have to answer it. Otherwise, you start getting yelled at.
Yeah.
So like you have to do it like immediately, and customer's always right. The customer's always right, and it's like at some point you have to start telling people like, you know, some of this stuff like I get it, but like you know, like some of it's just like can't just be like one way or the highway. Like
yeah.
he at least has more reasons because it's his law firm at least.
And what's worse is that like at that time when Dan Schneider was there, is that Nickelodeon like approved of like these calls because as you said, as you mentioned, those sitcoms were like making buck.
Yeah, they're making money, dude.
Yeah, they were making money. Like Victorious, iCarly, they spanned on for like 4 or like 5 seasons, and they didn't care about the child actors. They just like shut them out of like their concerns.
That's how it's been, man. Like, okay, have you ever heard of what's it called? So like the person who was in the show, they were technically like a little person, I guess what you would back then call a midget, but like it was a little person, right?
Yeah.
And it's not the Three Companies one. It's like Different Strokes. Yeah, or was it Different Strokes? I think it was Different Strokes. Something like that. Where that guy, it was like super bad for him. Like later on, like I think he like died of like suicide or something like that. It was something super bad. Like may have not even been suicide, but it was something bad.
Oh man,
that's. So, he was a child actor from the 70s, and that wasn't uncommon to hear about.
Jeez, yeah, like I know we don't bring up like real talks like this like at all, like homies, especially on like the YouTube era, but this is like, you know, something in our childhood, and like the main thing is like, you know, of course, as we said, like more better protection for like these, you know, childlike actors, but also like there's also like this weird like thing that you don't have to like dislike everything that after, you know, Dan Schneider like did. I mean, of course, some shows like Victorious and stuff, that could go like, you know, 50-50, but like Drake and Josh, it was a wholesome show. It was not bad.
Well, like people talk about it all the time. For like somebody asked me at my video, like, how do you feel about people like watching the show? She's like, you know, it's fine. Like they like it, it's fine. And she got like a lot of the parts of it, you know, after like especially after reading her book. And I think, like, you know, I agree. You know, it's just like you can't take away from like the wholesomeness of what that show actually represented.
Exactly. Yeah, because like a lot of these like shows, they people see like this front surface level after like hearing like this documentary, like, oh, it's so gross, so it's so weird. But like like most of these shows, they do like they have like heart and they have like message to them. So like you can't like totally like dismiss them out there, because some of these like shows have like messages that maybe we're not like seeing or didn't like see when we were young, but they still like carry something.
Yeah, like they carry like some sort of sentimentalism, you know. And it's like Michael Jackson, you know. You're not gonna stop people from enjoying like old Michael Jackson songs.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so you just gonna have to let people like decide for themselves. Like, I get if someone says I can't watch this or listen to this because like I think of like the gross stuff, like okay, I get that. But if you know, if you don't think about that whenever you watch it again, okay, well then that's good.
That's good.
That's a good thing.
Okay, so we talked about that, and there's another like what was it? That's at least alongside like the film industry. Have you seen the live action Avatar Netflix series, Eskateerr?
I watched some of it. It is pretty good.
Oh,
I keep
yeah.
forgetting to finish it, but yeah, it's good.
Yeah. I'm currently watching it like, well, I've watched it like 2 times. Once on a run was like 2 times. Once with my like friends as we were just like chilling and watching because we were all like Avatar heads growing up. And the second time with mom because, you know, I love watching things with mom. And yeah, like this is a not bad live action adaptation of a cartoon or something,
right.
You know?
It's pretty good, yeah, it's alright.
Yeah, there's some like weird like acting like choices there, you know, like for some like actors at least. Like Aang looks good, Sokka looks good, Katara looks good, Zuko and Iroh look good.
Good.
They look good. Suki hella fine. I'll say Suki hella fine. I don't know about Azula though. Azula
Yeah.
and like Mei and Ty Lee though.
Yeah, but it can't all be bangers, you know.
Yeah, that's true, right? Like I especially like hissed at like Mei though, like like Azula, Mei, and Ty Lee, they were like fine. They were like really like good looking. Why does Mei look like someone from like a quinceañera or like a Filipino pageant or something? I do not know. Like she looks so like, why does she look so fat?
I can tell you, dude. I can tell you.
Like shit, bro. Like it will like grow on me, but like yeah, there are like a lot of like good or bad acting choices. Oh, another one of them. Oh my god, fucking the Fire Lord Ozai.
Oh yeah. I see why they put him in the front too.
Yeah, he really is like a good like villain. But
Because I didn't like feel like I saw a whole lot of him during like the original show, you know? Like I felt like he was there, but not like during most of it.
yeah, he was there
You
in
know?
like flashbacks for the most part.
Flashbacks, yeah.
Flashbacks, he was like hinted at the end of like season 1, and then he became full force in season 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like I think like that's like kind of like a cool thing about this Avatar like live action Netflix is that it doesn't maintain the one-to-oneness of like Avatar. Like they didn't just try to just copy and paste the plot through and through.
And like why would you want to do that? Like why copy and paste when like because people would be like, okay, well, I mean, I'll just watch the original.
Yeah.
If you're just gonna copy and paste.
At that point, yeah, like if you don't like the Netflix live action, yeah, just go watch the original.
Watch the original.
It's
But it's
like-
like if you were like copy and pasting, like because this is an argument I've heard where people are like, why would you do 1-to-1, right? Because it's like especially when like nerds start thinking like it's not exactly how the comics goes, or it's not exactly how like the original is. So
Or
like
yeah, or like those like big like nostalgia heads back in the day that really
Yeah.
loved Avatar when they were like kids.
yeah. So like people will be like, why would you want it that way? Like why would you want a 1-to-1? Like if you wanted a 1-to-1, why don't you just rewatch the original?
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
even then, if you want to like avoid just like watching the original, you could like just ask like an animation studio with voice actors. Make like a DreamWorks version or a Spider-Verse like animation style for Avatar. Like it's there.
Even-
There are like options.
Even then, like I feel like this was like the correct choice. Just to like, I always think it's a correct choice to like mess with the plot a little bit, just because like you're trying to do a different format, so you should do something different.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Like there's a lot of like different takes that the live action Avatar does, and the original like didn't have well, quote unquote didn't have. I mean, like it's a cartoon, right? It's supposed to cater like for kids, but even then, like kid shows can carry a lot of like nuance or like hidden messages. Like they don't have to be full frontal like scary or like nudity. No, they could have like some in-depth like layers about like real like poignant like messages or motifs.
Yeah, I feel that.
Fuck, I watched like oh sorry, I mean like your niece is in the back, I shouldn't like hers.
No, you're good.
Okay, cool. But man, I watched like Power Rangers, I watched like Tokusatsu. They're the most dumbest like film media there is, like teenagers in like spandex, but they have like very on topic points. People like die in Power Rangers, like come on.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just because something is like meant to be like for kids doesn't mean like it doesn't lose like any like some of the Oscar like messages. Like not everything has to have like an Oppenheimer like Oscar nomination sort of thing.
I haven't even watched Oppenheimer yet. I've watched the Barbie movie.
Oh, Barbie movie is pretty. Oh man, I watched it on
Pretty
a plane
good,
ride.
yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun movie.
It was a fun like movie, like for just making like an idea out of like the Barbie like dolls where little girls like grew up like playing and like do and learn like feminine like aspects. it was a really not bad like
Fun.
pick.
Yeah, it was fun. I did watch the new Invincible. It was not as brutal as the last one, but
Oh,
still
really?
kind of like up there. Yeah.
I heard people were talking shit about it. Like they were like hoping for something from like the actual like comic source.
You see, this is exactly what I'm saying. It's like if you want the original, just go buy the. Like there's secondhand comic book shops everywhere. Just go buy like an old graphic novel of it. Like I don't
Yeah,
it's been around forever.
I've yet to watch Invincible though. I mean, like some of these, like I think we like talked about it before, maybe, but like some of these like adult like comic book shows, they're not really like my cup of tea. Like they're like the
I
new
get
medium.
that.
They're a new medium, right? Because everybody loves like evil Superman, but
It's like hit or miss, right? So like I think Invincible does it right, but like it's always like hit or miss for me. Like
yeah.
it's either done right or it's done really not right.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, when it like hits, it's like for that like shock value, and Invincible really had like that shock value at the beginning episode and the climactic season 1 finale. And after that shock value, it's like people are expecting like more shock value from, as you mentioned, the source material, but they're doing like their own thing. So why, like, it's like those things.
It's just if you want the original, just go watch it, go read it.
And like back to like Avatar, it's like why if you want to like make like a live action, and like okay, you could do like a live action, but yeah, you could watch like the cartoons. But it's kind of hard to, transition like a cartoon to like a live action, because a cartoon is like fully like animated. You can't like fully animate like a live action unless you do something like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit like scenario, something like that. Or
And
like,
even then, like that kind of breaks like the fourth wall, so it's like it doesn't have like the same. It just doesn't come off the same way.
yeah, but still, like Avatar has some like really good moments, like, and Avatar is like, if not for anything besides like the poignant like messages, the action, and the action is super on par in Avatar. Just like people doing bending is similarly accurate to like the show. Not a wholly like ton, but it's better than the M. Night Shyamalan do like 30 martial arts stances to move like a pebble. Like,
You talking about the movie that they made that I heard really terrible things about? Yeah.
Yeah, that movie. Oh my god. I mean, like, well, quick summary: Avatar, M. Night Shyamalan movie, not that great. Lackluster CG and like things.
Also, M. Night Shyamalan is like a low-key racist, so like a lot of that stuff comes off in his work. Like you don't really like feel it in like his early work because it's like the 90s and no one cares.
Oh yeah.
But like later on, you start to see it.
Oh, no wonder the Fire Nation were all Indians there. Oh my god, it makes sense.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about, man. Like,
jeez.
why did you make the Fire Nation all Indians? Like why can't they be like at least like different shades of like brown?
I'm like, poor Dev Patel for being like Zuko in that one. At least like, here's the thing, right? Zuko or Dev Patel, like he had like a big success in Slumdog Millionaire, and he was kind of like doing small projects here and there. But he's making a comeback in one movie that I'm really looking forward to watch. It's like Indian John Wick called Monkey Man.
I think you told me about this.
Yeah, that movie, I can't wait, bro. I want to see this boy like flex, man.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, I think you told me about that.
Yeah, it looks really like good for and it's like Dev Patel's like he's acting in it and he's producing it, and Jordan Peele's directing it.
Okay, has promise.
Yeah, so it has promise.
Yeah.
Has a lot of like pedigree over there. All right, but outside of that, let's get into our like discussion, and this is gonna be like your forefront, T-Skater, and it's gonna be fighting game tournaments, right? So
Okay, all right.
so I never like been to an actual tournament. Like the only like tournament I've ever like been into was like
Smash stuff?
the Smash stuff. Yeah, it was like a small like stuff, like NJCU, like the college faculty I grew like I did like my bachelor's in, they were doing like a Smash tournament, and the prize was like a Barnes and Noble like gift card, small and minuscule, but like I enjoyed my time doing it. Like I didn't know what the hell was like going on, because this is like my first tournament. Everything was like so new, but I enjoyed like the rush, and that was like at a time when like I was super enjoying Smash Brothers, because Smash Wii U was coming soon, even like before Smash like Ultimate was like coming out, but everybody was super on board like the Smash train, and I was like a super big Smash kid until like I started playing more of the game and I like fell off.
Yeah. Yeah, tournaments are fun. It's more like local ones are super fun. I can't say that like I'm like huge into them, because I just, you know, I've only been to one major, and you know, it was during law school, so I wasn't like.
Oh, that was the Texas Showdown, right?
Yeah, and I'm going this April again, so it's like at the end of April again. So I'm going again. Yeah, it's kind of like that same feel too. It's just like, you know, just trying to have fun, you know, because it's like, yeah, I get it, right? Like Street Fighter, like they're up in the ante, right? Like they did the 2 million, right? And I'm guessing like they're not backing down. Other companies, they'll raise it up, as they should, right? But like for the most part, like most tournaments are still the same. Like they still have that same vibe. Like you just want to have like competitive fun. You know? It's just how it is.
So like starting off with like the locals, and then we'll build our like discussion to like the big like money-hatted like tourneys. Like I do want to ask, like, what are some like do's and don'ts in like for locals at least?
Kind of the same as majors. It's just, you know, there's less stress on like the actual rules. You know, like best 2 out of 3 go per start. Loser usually is the one, like it's to pick like a character if they lose the first round. Some games are 3 out of 5, you know, just that whole thing. Make sure that you listen for your name whenever you're up.
Yeah, I did hear stories on like Twitter, like if you don't like listen to your name, then you're automatically out or something like that.
Yeah, like yeah, some places are super strict like that. The one local that I've been regularly going to, they're not as strict. Like the guy is super nice about it. He'll call your name multiple times, and he'll like sort of wait a little bit. And he's like, I guess, you know, we just want to make sure he gets a fair shot. Maybe he didn't hear me or whatever. But some places, yeah, like can be like that.
Okay. So what are like what's like the environment of like a local like scene? Is it like as you said, like super friendly, or is it like super like what was it, like not high and mighty, or like how's like the environment?
High competitive. Depends on the game, really.
Yeah,
so it'll depend on the game. So take it like a spectrum of like high competitive and like because I feel like Smash, if done right, is super fun, right? It's super casual, super fun, and you can do like, because you know people still do tournaments for that, right? And they're still trying. But I feel it's like on a spectrum of that, like Smash, super casual, super fun, and then like super competitive, and then like all the other games are sort of like in between. So like older games, so like say like Marvel, like for instance, they're gonna be competitive. Like they're gonna, because it's been around forever, and people have been like, they've been grinding for like a long time. So like,
yeah, I mean,
yeah, they're gonna be super competitive, but they're not like, at the same time, they're not like super unwelcoming, if you get what I mean. Like they'll, like, yeah, super competitive, but it's not like they're like
they'll gatekeep.
Yeah, they're not really gatekeeping. It's just that like they're just high level. They're just so high level that it's like, you know, if you want to compete with them, you kind of have to like grind a little bit at least, you know?
Okay, so that's like the environment. How about like the clientele, like the people inside like locals and stuff? Are they like also like super friendly? Is there like, you know, like you're talking about like Smash, is there like an odor around like the atmosphere or something like that?
Most people shower, let's just put it that way. Shower. Most people have families, like they have kids, or they have a wife, or they have this or that they got to take care of too. It's a range of like ages, because you do get like super young kids sometimes, but like the ones I've been to where like kids have been there, their parents have always been there, so it's, you know, it's not a big deal.
Ah, okay. Oh, that's good. Like if there's like for a varying of like ages, it's not just like old heads. Like, have you seen like what like teenager like age groups in these locals or no?
Sometimes it just depends. Like I said, it depends on the games, right? So like, Tekken will bring out a lot of old heads, but it will be like a lot of old heads who are super like casual about the game. Like they're good, but they're like super casual about it too. Tekken's like that.
So wait, like casual, but are they like casual, like just casual? But do they say casual and they like sandbag people when they play Tekken?
No, they don't sandbag. They don't sandbag. No, like nobody ever sandbags.
Okay, I was about to say.
I've never had anybody sandbag. Like, and you know, I'm not the best, but no one's ever like they bring their A game, and then if they see that like I'm struggling, they'll give me some tips. Like some people are like that. Like a lot of people are like that. They'll give me tips, and you just kind of like make friends that way.
Okay, because I had like a few examples, not like in like tournaments or like locals, but just like in like my friends group that like, like I'm a beginner, please be gentle with me, and then you see this like Negan player in the game room and just like beating everybody's ass. I'm like, yeah.
No, stuff like that's frowned upon. Like it's kind of frowned upon, honestly.
Okay.
Because it's like, why did you like? It's like, why did you do that? Like, why didn't you just tell me that? Like, you're like, I'm not gonna be mad at you if you bring your A game. Like, just play your character, dude. Like, come on,
right.
Just play.
Yeah, just play. Exactly. Yeah, just as you said, bring your A game. No like chicken shitting around. No like stop trying to like mess around or anything. Just like play your best. People will like acknowledge. The person will acknowledge you, and you will get like some acknowledgement back, like just like giving it your all. Don't like fake it.
Yeah, that's all people ask is that you try. That's it. Exactly. Yeah, but it depends on the game, right? So anime fighters obviously will bring out a kind of a younger crowd because a lot of younger people are usually the more anime fans. And a lot of people, even if they grew up with anime, they don't do anime fighters because that's not what they grew up with,
Oh yeah, and speaking like speaking of which, like for like anime fighters, especially like for Guilty Gear, right? There's been like a huge like upsurge, right? And this is like a good like increase in numbers, especially for Guilty Gear. Guilty Gear like attracts the LGBTQ plus population more than like anything on like social media and like Twitter and stuff, and that's like a good thing. So yeah, outside of like the tryhards and stuff, do you see like not like diversity in terms of like game or character picks or anything, but how about like, are there like girl competitors? Are there like trans or
I've seen a couple of like queer folks. I've seen a couple of like women there. So like I said, depends on the game. No one's gatekeeping, so it's like you come out, if you don't, then you don't.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, because like that's like a thing in well, not just like tournaments, but just like in fighting games, like we brushed upon like gatekeeping, even though as we say this, we can be a fighting game. FGC can be very like gatekeepy even like back then, and it's sort of like an interesting morph for turnaround now that we're like including like everybody in. So that's like a good positive bonus.
You want to, dude. Like, you don't want your shit to die out,
Yeah.
You don't want to end up like these old Marvel heads that like have to scream Marvel lives for like ever. And like, I love Marvel, man. Like, I want it to come back. I want to pay another $50 for Marvel 2, so. But like, it's just, if you have like people who are kind of like that, like people leave, dude. Like, it's just what it is.
It's just what it is. Exactly. Okay, so that's good. That's good to know. How about like what was it? Like other like side activities in locals? I know like in majors you have like booths, there's like food stalls or like artist galleries. Do they have that in like locals or just very like low key?
It'll depend on which one. So a lot of locals, they do stuff in bars. So you'll have like whatever the bar already has there. Sometimes people know that like, oh, they're doing like an event, like maybe let's like try to sell some stuff. So the one I go to, like they have a permanent guy there that sells like food. It's expensive. No one ever buys it because it's super expensive. But I mean, they like people will buy it, but like it's pricey, right? So it just depends.
How pricey we talking for, let's say like that local at the bar, for example?
like let's say like so like for Texas, it will be pricey because like we have things that just cost a little bit lower down here because it's how it is. But like let's just say right, like his food is really good, right? It's like above like what a fast food burger would be. It'd be like a Red Robin like style, like pretty good burger.
Oh, I
but
wish
like,
I had Red Robin. Okay,
yeah, but like you know how like a Red Robin, at least here in Texas, it'll be like base be like $10, right, for the burger. Here, like that guy sells them for like 16 with lowest.
Yeah, I mean, close to like 20. I thought you were gonna scare me and say like 25 or something like that.
No, it's not that bad. Like people will still buy it because it's not that pricey, but like compared to like the other stuff we can get around here, it is kind of pricey. So it just depends on the venue, right? So like Texas Showdown, there's gonna be plenty of artists there. So like artist galleries, people selling merch, stuff like that. Last one I went to, I don't think they had any food there, but I know that they do like side tournaments for sure. And like Texas Showdown likes to emphasize that they do like tournaments for like retro games. So they actually still do a Marvel 2 game like tournament there. And I think Capcom versus SNK2 and some other stuff.
Ooh.
I think they still do Turbo actually too. But I don't try to do those because like it's all the old heads that's the only game they've been playing,
Yeah.
Like I know that the organizers do that just because they know that like a lot of Houston is like old heads, so like they're like we gotta keep doing it. So
yeah, that's very true. Okay, that's very good, right? Like now I have like a little bit more understanding of like locals. It's just like for me, right? If I want to like enter like a local, and there are like some around here in like my area, Jersey City, but I sort of have like this like emotional like dilemma because like I want to enter one. I want to well, not like do good, but just to like have the experience. But I also have this like weird like disposition. Like I gotta think of like the people around me who are coming with me for like these like tournaments and stuff. Especially for my thing. Yeah, it's like whenever I think of like, because it's just like mom and I, and if I like go to a tournament, I gotta think of like, oh, is mom okay? Like how is she like doing? So I have this like worrisome like nature.
Yeah, no, trust me, I get it. Like sometimes the kids are over, like during the week, so like I think like, oh, they'll be like, hey, because like at the local I go to, they're like, hey, you're going to this bar that we go to, like this cocktail lounge, and I'm like, I don't want to be peer pressured into going when like the kids are around, so I'm like, nah, I can't go, and they'll be like, okay, we'll just see you another time. That's it.
Yeah, but still, like I still have like the determination of like want to go. I still have like my New Year's goal from like last year. Can't go now because had to like go to Bangladesh for like the winter vacation, which costed a lot of money from us. And of course, there's a lot of like mortgage bills and credit card bills that we had to like pay off. So we can't really do anything this year, unfortunately. But I do want to go to like Evo or like some of like these like tournaments that are really like cool, like popping, like CEO or Combo Breaker, stuff like those. And I just want to like feel like the environment of like a tournament.
Yeah, like I would say just take a good friend with you, maybe like Crack Rock, he's probably down to go, take like a good friend with you and just go. Most places are going to be super friendly, and they usually advertise too, like especially now that like we have social media,
right?
So they'll so you can feel out like the type of people that are going to be there.
I see.
Like in Houston, they have the Discord server for sure, but like most people look to like the Facebook group where they post all the stuff there, so you can feel who's going to sort of be there just for like responses.
I see. Okay, so general like good knowledge. All right, I'm gonna have to like write all the information down into like a notebook. So gotta like write all these things as like a good like check mark, like bucket list. Okay, so next is we talked about like locals, and that's like your field of era. How about well we brushed upon like big tournaments. How is Texas Showdown?
It's it's not like super big, but it's like big enough, There's a lot of setups there. You know, you meet a lot of people. I found it to be pretty okay, pretty like inviting and welcoming. So,
I see. Okay, so you like, I know you said like you entered Texas Showdown like once, I think like last year, right? And how well did you like?
Like 2 years ago actually.
Oh, it was 2 years ago. But
yeah, it's been a while.
But your experience of Texas Showdown, how far did you get into, and what was the game that like you played? Because I might have like forgotten.
Fighters. I played Fighters. That's it. I played Fighters because I was just testing the waters. So I only played Fighters that one time because it was my first major, so I was like, I just kind of want to see like what the tempo is like. It is like a fast tempo, like compared to like a local. But like, yeah. So like, I played Fighters. This time I'm playing also Fighters because you know my late brother, he really liked, you know, Dragon Ball, and then you know Theory Armor just passed, so I kind of just want to like, you know, wish one last time. That one and Street Fighter 6. So I'll do those two big ones.
I see. Okay, that's cool. And I think you like didn't make it out of like pools, if I'm like correct.
No, but like no one ridicules you. You know, it's a tournament, right? Like like competition's pretty fierce.
Competition is fierce, yeah, that's very true. Especially on like Texas Showdown.
So, like my goal is making it out of pools. So like that's you know, I get out of pools, I win.
That's some good like resolve. I like that. Okay, so all right, so we talked about your experience. We talked about locals. Now this is gonna be like us and you and I, and we talk about like our favorite like tournaments, just as like from a audience standpoint. What are some of like our favorite tournaments? What are some like our least favorite tournaments? Least favorite top 8s, most favorite top 8s, from all the EVOs, from all the CEOs.
Nothing's ever gonna beat the first Evo I watched. It was the one where like Arslan Ash won for the first time.
Oh yeah.
So that one, nothing's ever gonna beat, because I didn't watch, you know, Moment 34. So like that one for me, that's the big one.
Yeah, because it's hard to like, you know, say like my first Evo moment was Evo Moment 37. I'm like, no, either like you're old or you're just like going with the bandwagon hype for Evo Moment 37. I'll believe you unless you're like 30 plus years old, something like that. Then yeah, for sure. But if you're like a new gen, nah, that's very unbelievable.
Also like it was long ago, but like even certain people that were like, because I'm that age, right? Like I could have been there, but I wasn't there because I was in the military. So like I can't say that I saw Moment 37 because I didn't watch Moment 37. I didn't know what it was until I got out. Like I remember like I was getting to Marvel 3 at the time, you know. So like there was one guy, right, that would play with me like Marvel 3. And then he told me about what Evo used to be called. So that was like the first inkling that I had.
Okay, yeah. And like similar like for me like as well, like even though like, well, I didn't enlist in the army, but that was like at a time age where like I was just like getting into like anime, like manga. Like Naruto was like a big thing for me like growing up in the Toonami era, and I was just like focusing on like school and like doing well in like school. I didn't know you could play video games for like money.
I didn't know you could play video games with other people, like, you know, because I wasn't into first person shooters, you know. It was because the only thing I saw in the barracks was people playing first person shooters. I didn't even know you could play other people outside of those games.
Yeah, like because I was like, oh, and that was like also at a time where like, you know, everybody grew up also with Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon card games. Everybody played Yu-Gi-Oh back then when we were like kids. Like everybody loved summoning like Dark Magician or Blue Eyes White Dragon with Pot of Greed or some shit like that. And I see my high school friends still playing Yu-Gi-Oh to this day. I thought they're old.
I mean, Nah, man. Like even people my age still play it, dude. So like, don't feel bad about that.
Yeah, but luckily, like I refounded like my fighting game focus back when like Marvel 3 was like coming out, and I had to like get Marvel 3, and that was like when I was introduced to fighting game communities and fighting game tournaments as a whole because of like Marvel 3 and Maximilian underscore dude like making compilations of Evo moments of past years and how amazing fighting games at like just as a community sense, how awesome and fun it can be.
Yeah, and like I didn't even find influencers until later. It's just, you know, for me it was like because I didn't even get into it like after I got out of the military, because like Street Fighter 5 kind of did mess it up for me. Because like I got it right, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna love this game, and then it was like it was what it was when it came out. So like I didn't start getting into it until like I got Fighters, honestly. Like if I'll be honest, like because I always played it like here and there, but you know, got Fighters, started playing it a little bit, not a whole lot, but then like right before COVID, I remember like it was because like Fighters had only been out like maybe like a year or two or something. Because it came out in 2017, right, or something like that.
It came out Fighters 2019.
Oh, actually, okay, then I was wrong. Yeah, around 2020, right before COVID. Then, yeah, like I entered my first tournament. It was Fighters, and luck. I actually won a match in winners.
Oh, we're
And
actually
I was like, well, maybe I got something here.
well, actually, let me double check again. It was like Fighters in 2019 or 2017. I know it was like a year.
I want to say.
Oh, that's right. It's 2018. It came out January 2018.
Okay, I heard about it in 17. Came out in 18. So yeah, so that makes more sense.
Yeah,
so like
that
I think
makes
like
sense.
2 years.
That makes sense. I always forget. Like Fighters came out like I think like 3 months after or 4 months after MVCI. So I always gotta like remember that connotation.
Yeah, and I didn't even track MVCI. Like I found that game later, which is I guess a good thing because I heard like people hated it. So I don't have that stigma around that game because I kind of like it. You know, it's a pretty good game, but
yeah. For me, like my favorite Evos or what was it? Like my favorite like tournaments. I have like a couple or like a few. And this is mostly like I could be like very like superficial, but this is like mostly tied to like announcements for fighting games. So like favorite like tourneys to like oh, there were like a few. Yeah, now I have to think about it. Some that are like with announcements and some that are just relative like hype. Two of them in the Tekken sphere was the Tekken World Tours. One of them was when Noctis came out.
okay, I get that.
Yeah, because I was like, at that time I was sick and my dad was around and mom had to like comfort me, so I was like watching the tournament with her and I was like, I wanted to react, but oh god, this stomach virus. Oh shit, Noctis came out. Oh, my stomach. Like, shit, man. And then of course the infamous Tekken World Tour where Kudons was Kudons or Ranchu, the panda moment.
I didn't get to watch that, so I watched that in the video later on. I heard about it.
Yeah,
So when I watched it in the video, I was like, okay, yeah, so people do that.
People do play low tiers and commit to low tiers and can take up like high tiers. It can happen. Of course, right, r/, as you mentioned, that's like one of my favorite like Evo moments. I didn't know like r/ at the time, but it was like a huge like pedestal like moment for Evo, or especially for Pakistan.
Yeah, I didn't know either. I just like I was watching it the whole time, and I was like Pakistan. I was like they play things like in Pakistan. I'm like, all right, I guess let's go.
Yeah.
And then then when I saw him like kneel down like after he won, I was like, oh, it's big.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right. Like people from my region can play like video games and get like sponsorships, where the usual like connotation for like us like brown kids like growing up, either be an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer or like some like computer code graphic designer or something like that, and it's just like I'm just tired of like my generation of kids growing up to be this. Where's like where's like a brown kid that's like a historian or a poet, or like, well, my dad is like one of them, but that's like a very like rare species of a few.
Yeah, and you're right too, because like when I went into law, like even before that, when I was an undergrad, like they're like, you're gonna be a psychologist. I was like, I don't know, like I'm gonna try, I guess. And then like I got like, you know, that whole thing happened that I described like a long time ago, like that I just got disillusioned with it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I guess I'll just be a lawyer. And people always think that like I have like this big story. And they're like, what did you do? Like, you always wanted to be a lawyer? Like, did your parents like want you to? I'm like, I was like, I asked my friend. He said that I'd probably be a good lawyer, and I took the LSAT, and then I got it.
Yeah, and then you got it, and like that's like for you, it's like it's out of like the norm of what, you know, Hispanics or Latinos or Latinas would usually like get.
Yeah, so like after that, right? Because I don't make a big deal out of it, but everybody else does, and it just I even told somebody this like recently. I was like, it's just kind of weird to me that like to like celebrate like these things, like these like school accomplishments, and they're like, why? I was like, because I've never been passionate about it. Like I've never been like a guy that likes school. Like I never felt at home in school. So
lesson from like both of us, because for everybody who's watching this video, because we've been in the school industry for like quite some time, either as like a student or as like a faculty or like staff member. Schools are like not that great.
they're not. And then like you always get those people who are like, well, school's always been a safe place for me, and they look at you, they're like, why isn't it a safe place for you? And I was like, because it just isn't. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like I'm glad that you found a safe place like here at school, but it wasn't for me, man. Like sorry.
Yeah.
I don't tell you.
Either like school has like a detriment of like many like things, even to like an extent of like college. Like most key of like all of them all is like you're under pressure for like the grind to get like the A+, to get like the scholarship, and at the later end you're just like grinding. It's kind of like the same thing with like fighting games. Like you're grinding, you're playing, even though like you're playing like a video game, but are you passionate for like said video game or said school?
Yeah, and you know, if you're passionate about school, cool, but
like if you're just like grinding to like get like the A+, like that's like my thing because I grew up with like school like foundations. Both of like my parents are like professors at a college. But I always say, like, if you're passionate about something, like go for it. Like
go for that, yeah.
Go for that. You'll get a lot more benefit. You'll get a lot more like learning, like spongy like experience. You'll retain a lot more information when you're passionate about like a subject. And then rather than just like, I have to like do this to, you know, pleasure my parents, or, you know, keep like status quo, or like even like get like a job, things like that. Well, I mean, job is like important, but it's like still though, you're like pressured, or you're like peer pressured, you're like burdened to like, you know, do like good. But at the end of the day, how much is that good going to do you?
Yeah, it's just, and it's hard, right? Because it's like, you can't just not have a job. Unless you're like severely disabled, then you really, really can't have a job.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's just, the only people I really harp on are like people who are like, try to like force people into like roles and stuff. And like, people who find it weird that you don't do, or that you're not like, that you don't buy like the same Gatorade that they do, you know? Like, it's just, well, it's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just like they feel like life is supposed to be a certain way, right? So like, especially in Texas, like everybody in Texas is usually like it's some sort of evangelical Christian, right? They go to church every Sunday, they try their best, they watch football, maybe they watch baseball, and they go to college, and they work for the oil industry. You know, that's, you know, that's Texas, right? But it's like, what about everybody else? Of like, you know, there's people here who don't, one, they don't, like, school hasn't been a nice place for them. There's two that like they're passionate about something else, like poetry, games, video games, fighting games, or like, you know, or like they're just a completely different faith. Like, what are you gonna tell those people? Go to church on Sunday, but they pray on Friday. You know, like, what are you supposed to tell? Like, what are you supposed to like? What's Texas supposed to do with that? Just like weird out, you know.
So yeah, like that's like our like little like beef with like school. But what was it? Oh yeah, like Arslan Ash winning like Evo is like a good celebratory moment. I think like recent Street Fighter 6's like top 8 was, or top 6, sorry, not top 8, top 6 was really good as well.
I will say the announcement when they announced like the $2 million prize, that was pretty big for me.
Oh yeah, the last like Capcom Cup where they announced like a $2 million prize pool for like tournaments. That's a really like significant event for not just like Street Fighter 6 but for fighting games, because
Like in general.
in general, yeah, well, in general, in the terms of like gaming spheres, I mean, it's not gonna beat like the Riot Games like tournaments where they have like already they have $2 million prize pools even before Street Fighter 6. Because the games are so like popular than fighting games, so they just naturally have like a gimme.
Yeah, League.
Yeah, League, Valorant, you know, those games have natural like pedigree to grab like a lot of like audiences in comparison to like fighting games, very like little. So getting like $2 million for a Street Fighter 6 fighting game, that's gonna be like a stepping stone for other fighting games to like up their like ante.
Yeah, it's growth, you know. And like not to compare it to the military game, but like I've always like I feel like I gravitate towards like niche things, you know, because like my job in the Corps wasn't super niche. Like people will ask me that, even people who like will serve, they'll be like, what was your job? And they expect me to say like something typical, like, oh, I worked in the motor pool, or I was infantry, or I was in armor. And then I tell them like, yeah, I was and they're like, just say it. I was like, electro-optical ordnance repairman. And they're like, wow, that is a mouthful. I was like, yup. Like, that's what they called it. And they're like, no one's ever heard of that. I was like, you ever heard of the optics guy? And they're like, no. Like,
that's very like similar to me, because like once again I'll spin like my like cultural like background, because a few of like my cousins are like into like the doctoring like industry, but I'm like in the opposite path. I always follow like this like old school I think he's like a philosopher, Robert Frost, or like a writer.
Oh, Robert Frost, yeah, everybody knows that. Like, at least here.
At least here, yeah. And I always loved his phrase, and I carry it to this day: walk the road less traveled by. Whereas like many people will take like this path because it's convenient and everybody likes to, you know, go with the crowd. I like to go like in a different direction, like to like make my own path, so to speak. Yeah. And yeah, like I just like stick to like my guns, and like I love like fighting games. This is like something that I love to do, in comparison to the other like brown boy where they love like cars and like go to like Buffalo Wild Wings and hang out with their friends and watch like baseball or football games. It's like I don't have an interest for that now.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, and I didn't for a long time, but I, you know, sort of do now, but like it's not. And people think it's like a one or the other thing, but it's like you can like both, right? I watch baseball, I watch hockey, always some wings at like B-dubs, you know. But it's like people ask me like, oh, what else do you do? And they expect you to say that like work on my car after work, or I, you know, do this or that. I was like, I either get, and I do the same thing at work too. I was like, I beat up people online, or I get beat up. That's what I do.
Yeah, like yeah, like say. Similar. Yeah, like everybody asks me like well, not does everybody like ask me, but more like majors, like what did you major you graduated in, Farhan? History and mathematics. Like double major for history and mathematics. Like, really, those two? I'm like, yeah, I did like both, because that's like a negotiation. It was like a negotiation with like mom. It's like, okay, Farhan, you get to do something that I want you to do, but you get to do something that you want to do. So like history like fascinates me, even though I lack the practice of it now. But like history is always like interesting, especially like fighting game history. I always love fighting game history more than like anything. But it just like I have like things that I naturally like, and like it's just also with like my what was it, mental or like my autism, my Asperger's.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like my Asperger's. Like we are like a species of like people that really like dive deep into like a very specific something, and like other subjects kind of like lose interest for us. That's what like Asperger's people like really are. And like for me, for example, like fighting games and Power Rangers, I love those two. I hardly like I have like vocabulary to maintain a conversation with other people with other subjects, but I do love like talking about like my field of expertise. So it's like it feels like foreign or strange to other people. Okay.
And honestly, like people think that's just like a autism thing, but like that's everybody, dude. Like just talk to like any regular person, right? They're waiting for you to stop talking about your thing so they could talk about their thing. You know? Like every single time. And like, you know, the autism thing I get for sure, because like there's a guy that goes to my local, he doesn't play any of the games, but he comes, and I love talking to this guy. Pretty sure he probably has autism, but like he talks about terrible movies that he finds like at high price. And I mean like they're terrible. But he doesn't talk about like how like, you know, he thinks they're great. He talks about how he thinks it's awesome that they're so terrible. And like
my kind of,
you know, I get that. Yeah, I like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's like a human thing. Like I started to like notice when like, especially like in like my IRL friends group, that my friends like love talking about like a certain thing, but whenever like I talk about like fighting games, it's just like, sort of like quiet.
Yeah.
Like just like quiet atmosphere. So it's like people like their own things, so I can't like talk about that. I'm like passionate about it, but there's no like respect for like a person's like passion or like things like that.
And most people are terrible at active listening. So like I sort of just like started picking up on how to do it. It's just, even if you're not like passionate about what they're passionate about, like you actively listen to see like, okay, let's try to see like, why do you like it? Like, you know, that's a pretty basic, like that's a basic thing I do like in any date actually, because like cause women are like that too, you know, they like to talk about what they like to talk about. So I just, you know, you have to actively listen and just like, you know, most basic questions like, okay, why do you like it?
Yeah, like at that point, just like, you know, just engage in a conversation, like start a conversation. It doesn't have to be you, because if it starts with like you, it starts to bring out like anxiety and nervous. But when you like understand like how to like, you know, flow with the conversation, then it starts to become less anxious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just gotta listen a little bit, and you know, the questions come naturally to me too. Like they'll start talking about, like, just say one girl like I was talking to likes to go in the gym. And why do you like going to the gym? And she's like, you know, I like to feel toned, I like to feel a little buff, you know, and I do this and this, and I do it after work. And I'm like, okay, you know, why after work? You just do it early in the morning. Oh, I wake up too early. Like I don't wake up early enough. Like, you put an alarm, sleep through the alarm, but then I see why you go after work now.
Alright, cool. Enough about like the sociology stuff. Other like fighting game stuff, right? We talked about like pot bonuses. Right. Oh,
City Wolves, man. City Wolves.
Oh my god, I wanted to talk to you about that one. Oh my god, dude. I didn't know, because I was like watching SNK Worlds, and it was a fantastic tournament, by the way. A lot of like flavors of life.
I watched a lot, some of it too. I think I passed out though, like towards the end. I tend to do that a lot for some reason.
Yeah, I think that's like one of my favorite like tournaments outside of like Evos, because it's like King of Fighters, and I start to like see myself.
They like to hype it up too.
Yeah, like they like to hype it up. And King of Fighters is like super like niche compared to like the big three of fighting games. So I have to give shout outs to KOF, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like of course there were like a lot of like flavors. There was even like a Korean girl that was like cosplaying as like Orochi like Shirley.
I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah, that was like super like dope. I'm like, yo,
That's awesome.
KOF is really banging out there, and not many people are seeing this. Like shit, bro. But the tournament was super like awesome. It had like very cool commentators. It had like a cool, awesome like banger. Like KOF is like, I mean, I see myself more as like an SNK fan more than like anything. I mean, I love Street Fighter, I love Marvel, but I also gotta give love to like KOF because characters look so goddamn cool. The playstyle is like great. They have problems, but you know, like it's KOF. It's the spirit of SNK. Like I love this shit.
I feel like it's the spirit of fighting games, like just in general.
Oh yeah, I mean
it
that's
feels like
true.
it.
Oh yeah, that's true. They've been like homebrewed. Like they've been like competing with like Capcom, but they've just been like, they are so like, we talked about like old heads, but they are super like old head. Like they don't like update to the times, but they just like stick to their formula. And you know, if you're a fighting game fan, it works. If you don't, then it could be off. But it's still, it's like, it's KOF, right? Sam Show, Fatal Fury, like all those classics, man. I love like seeing those tournaments in like high level play. And of course, you know, the announcement of like Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. Oh my god, we saw like the gameplay trailer. I was like,
City of the Wolves.
City of the Wolves. Oh my god, it was so fucking sick, man.
Every time I hear it too, because sometimes you'll see like commercials like, you know, and people telling you, you're like City of the Wolves, you know, like I'm buying that as soon as it comes out.
I'm buying like the base edition. I'm buying 2 versions. I'm buying like the what was it, the physical version, like a big like $100 edition. I'll go bang for my buck just to like get that. Like shit, man, I haven't got like a deluxe edition unless it's like a Bayonetta like deluxe edition, or even like a Marvel vs. Capcom one. Like I still have like in my room somewhere. It's just like, yeah, like, and then we saw like the gameplay, like hands-on impressions of Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. Like art style looks super like clean, like it looks like MVC3 style.
Yeah, dude.
Very
but like
comic
not
book style.
totally MVC3. Like it has its own color scheme, you know?
Yeah.
Like you feel it, like yeah.
Especially like with characters, like they have like when they do like supers and the background has like the comic like dots like around it, and they have like comic like outlines when they do like supers. Oh my god, dude.
This is gonna go off, dude.
Yeah, and I really like hope so. I hope it like, you know, spreads like word that like, you know, okay, well, not to in a sense, but it's just me like, you know, being like, you know, I always don't like popular like things at times, but I'll say like, move over Tekken, move over Mortal Kombat. There's a new player in town.
Well, I mean, not a lot of people playing MK, so
I mean,
Tekken now.
but MK does like bring in numbers for being like, you know, it's kind of like ass like now, but still it's like the casual appeal for Mortal Kombat.
You do got a point, yeah.
They still like bring in numbers, but Fatal Fury like combat, like it really is like an evolved version of like KOF 15.
I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna be so happy. Because I like that kind of stuff, dude. Like I like going into like the game. Like I'm not playing KOF right now, but like probably like later on, especially after like Showdown, I'll probably go back into it and like, you know, just try to relearn some of the mechanics, some of the moves and stuff.
I definitely want to do like a we should have like, and we'll try to get like more people in, have like an SNK day for like on the Khaiza stream, play like SNK games.
Yeah, I can do that. I can do that on Fridays. It's just that like I get back home by 6, so like you gotta wait for me to get home.
I'll try to like work around like the schedule, because I know like Fridays are like Final Fantasy, but I could like work around like some days. It's not a big deal.
I do Wednesdays too. Like I'm not going to school right now, so Wednesdays, Mondays.
Yeah.
Just probably not Thursdays.
But yeah, definitely like an SNK like day for fighting games has to like go down. We could play like 15, 13.
I got Mark the Wolves. On
we
this
could play
game.
Mark.
I got 13. I got 13 on this thing too.
Yeah, we could play like some of like those games and play it on like I think they have like rollback netcode update for 13, so we could
13,
definitely
yeah.
play rooms there. Yeah.
Yep.
So we could definitely like play that. Yeah. I'll have to like set a day. Maybe
I'm
like
like getting excited. Like I might play a little bit after this.
Yeah, same. I might have to like set a day after it. Maybe like next week, cause like this week I'm planning to do Street Fighter 6. It's been a long time since I played that game.
Oh, I might get in on that.
Yeah.
Street Fighter. What day you doing then?
I'm probably like do it on like Saturday, and I just want to like try out Ed, see like placement rankings and all that stuff.
All right. Yeah, I'll make time for that on Saturday.
But it's been an hour and like 10 minutes on this recording. Let's like wrap it up here. Yeah, so we're done with like this recording, and we talked about like tournaments. We talked about a lot of other like flavors of life. Yeah, I'm definitely like, we'll try to like go to like a local one day, and I'll have like my big ambition, if we have enough money, if there's nothing else going on around, I want to take mom, and I want to like go, and maybe like some friends to Evo.
I'll meet you there, because I've been wanting to go to Evo too.
Oh, we could get like tickets and like book there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we could definitely like do that. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's a solid like bet. I'll have to like mark it like down like somewhere. But yeah, that's like some good like information on like locals. Just have to maintain hygiene. Most of the time everybody's friendly. Take it less like seriously. Yeah, like that's like the local tournament nature in a nutshell.
Most serious players, when they go to locals, they treat it more like practice. So like it's not like they're trying to like go for the gold, right? So like if they don't rank up there and they don't make it up there, it's fine as long as they played like a certain person. That's what really they cared about. Like, and they might even just do that in casuals anyway. So
I see. But that's like some good like lessons like in mind. I'll definitely like keep that when I eventually like go to like a local. But anyway, that's it for like today's like Khaiza Dojo. I know we haven't done these like quite some time. I had like tournaments in my mind somewhere. I'll definitely like think about like the next topic of like discussion.
We could also do tournament watch parties. I'm down for that.
Oh yeah, I'll have to like see, because like next tournament, well, that's going to be a little bit off because of how Japan is like coordinated. Is Evo Japan?
True, but I mean, I'm not going to school right now, and I don't like my job, so like I've been staying up.
Yeah, we could watch like tournament like highlights and stuff like that from like Evo Japan. That could definitely work.
Yeah,
that could definitely work. Okay, so we're signing off now. We'll find the Khaiza on like YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. Where can we find you, Eskateerr? Mostly on like just TikTok and Twitter?
TikTok and Instagram for sure. I do have like my Twitter that I still use for like FU stuff. Most of the time the handle starts or is Eskateerr, and it's spelled ESKATEERR.
Gotcha.
You know, just search for it. If I'm there, I'll get a notification and I'll just, talk or do whatever.
And if you want to hear about Eskateerr's like badass like poems, definitely go to Instagram and all that jazz.
I'm getting ready to start reposting a lot of stuff and hopefully writing more. So like, people, I know a lot of people have been, maybe waiting for it. I don't know, but it's just, I have to like make sure I paid for the bar, dude. So
gotcha. I'll definitely be on the lookout for Eskateerr poetry when the time comes. All right, see you later, Eskateerr. Have a good day, guys. See you next time.
Peace.